My name is Father Charlie Bouchard, and I'm here to offer you a word of hope for Thursday, September 21st, which is the feast of St. Matthew the Apostle. You know, it's with some embarrassment that I admit to all of you that it wasn't until a few days ago when I saw it in the missalette that I read regularly that I realized that the motto on Pope Francis's coat of arms is Miserando atque eligendo, which means in having mercy, he also chose him. And he apparently took that motto or a version of it from the call that Jesus gives to Matthew today, where he says, "Come, follow me." But more importantly, he's saying that before Jesus called him, he also had mercy on Matthew because he knew his heart. He knew that he was an employee of an enemy government collecting taxes among the people. And yet he also saw that Matthew had very specific gifts that could be useful to preaching the gospel. So Jesus first had mercy on him, acknowledged the reality of his sinfulness and his perhaps wrong choices in life. But then, in spite of that, he chose him. He had mercy, and then he chose him. And Matthew, as a result of this call, became not only a witness to Jesus and to the gospel, but he also became a writer of the gospel and a disciple. How much more could you ask of a call? When we hear this story about Matthew being having or experiencing Jesus' mercy and then being called, we have to remember that that applies to us as well. That just like Matthew was known very well by Jesus, and Jesus probably knew that on this particular day, Matthew was going to be open to this call, so Jesus knows each one of us. He knows our sins, he knows our potential, he knows the grace in our lives. And just like for Matthew, he first has mercy on us and then he chooses us. And each one of us is chosen for a particular mission of life. That is to say, that the grace of vocation is custom made for every one of us. It's not just a blanket change that makes everybody alike, but it transforms us through this call and through this mercy into unique Christians who have a special place in the church. I think today, as we hear this story about the call of Matthew, it's probably a good time for us to reflect on how God has first had mercy on us and chosen us to be disciples with our sins and our various gifts. But then, just like Matthew did, as he followed Jesus and went out as a disciple, we have to do the same thing. We have to realize that we have been forgiven and chosen, and that we should now go out and have compassion on others, knowing perhaps their sins, but realizing that they are blessed children of God, and call them. Each one of us has this call to be witnesses and to be, as they say in the Gospels, fishers of persons, that we go out and find others who will overcome, with the help of God's grace, our sinfulness and be able to live a life of grace and discipleship for others.